Raider! Oakland, L.A., Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down. Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Thank you for joining us here on this, hold on, let me get the name right, post-Halloween pregame frightening fan fest. That's right. Thank you for joining us here for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 101. Normally we record on Wednesdays, but since yesterday was Halloween or the kickoff of Dia de Muertos. I got it right.
Fiesta Dia de Muertos.
Not Fiesta. No, it's
No.
Feliz.
Feliz.
Dia de Muertos. That's right, which goes from yesterday to today and then on to November 2nd. And that disembodied voice that you hear here on Raiders Fan Radio is, of course, the one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, welcome to the show.
Today I'm the unknown co-host.
Are you gonna do the whole show with that thing over your head?
Well, here's the thing. I don't have to wear my glasses this way.
Oh my gosh, where you at, Mosh? There he is.
I want you to know something about my outfit.
Okay, tell me something about your outfit.
I had some choices. Now everybody knows I'm a big guy. So
Yeah.
So Sexy Nurse was out.
Yeah, Sexy Nurse is definitely out. Yeah,
and then I thought, Sexy Cop was out.
Sexy Cop was out. Yeah.
And Sexy Fireman was out. So I thought I'd go with Sexy Gandalf. So I want you to know that I'm sitting here, and I'm not wearing any pants.
No, that's why we keep your camera
That's
above
why,
above. We go navel up.
So I'm Sexy Gandalf, and but I'm gonna pull the hood down because Pete Koch wants me to show off my hair.
Well, yeah, you guys got the silver
we got
locks.
the same hair.
So you're looking good there, Mosh. So you got you got your Raiders pumpkin there. You got the skeleton there. You got your
I got my
skull.
co-host. I got my bro.
Wilson
here,
is out this week.
Wilson. It's a little known fact, but Wilson always takes off the Day of the Dead.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah,
Wilson's got folks.
Yeah. We're going to get a day to remember all the volleyballs that came before him.
Man, I have missed being here.
Man, well, it's great to have you back, Uncle Mosh. It's been 2 weeks now that we've missed you. Of course, we had the solo show, which was weird. I
listened
you
to
did.
it.
So that was kind of odd doing a show by myself. I always said I would never do a podcast selfie,
right.
but thankfully Raider Nation was there to.
They really filled my shoes.
They
jumped
well.
in there, man. They kept you on task, and they
absolutely absolutely. So thank you to all of you that joined us there. So this week already, Uncle Mosh, the chat's filling up. I see Matt Santini in there, Ricky, Kings Only, Mean, Jamie, Ron, Charles, Nick, man, a whole bunch of Q Dog Raider. Absolutely.
All right.
The Raider Critique I see in there. So thank you all very much for joining us in the chat. Appreciate you being part of our post-Halloween pregame frightening fan fest here on Raiders Fan Radio. So Uncle Mosh, my wife, did an awesome job. I love the movie Suicide Squad. I'm a big comic book guy, you know that. And so my wife did the Diablo kind of. Of course,
it looks good.
Of course, from the nose down, I'm all beard, so I can't go with the face part. But for the eyes, that's what she did.
And had you not wiped it all off, it looked so cool. And
no.
Yeah. Oh, you still have it on?
No, I got it on. Yes. Yeah,
oh, my bad.
You got to get out more. You got to see more. You got to see more movies, Mosh. So thank you for joining us here on the show. So episode number 101. So we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. We've been out for a little while, But it is Halloween, Uncle Mosh. So little movie. We're big movie guys. I just mentioned Suicide Squad. What's your favorite scary movie, Uncle Mosh?
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the
Slam
Lambs. By far. I'm a big Tom Harris fan. You know, and he
Who's
wrote,
Tom Harris?
Yeah, and he wrote it.
Okay.
And but I had read all those Red Dragon books.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And I think it was Red Dragon was first, and then Silence of the Lambs, and then Hannibal came after that, and so by the time the movie came out, actually, Maneater was the first one that came out.
Okay,
and it wasn't tied into that, so people don't realize that Silence of the Lambs was actually the second book in that series. But man, Jodie Foster and it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. Now there's one I won't watch.
All right,
I won't watch The Exorcist.
Me neither.
And I'll tell you, I snuck into The Exorcist at the Century Theater. I was 15 years old.
Ooh.
And we told our moms we were going to see American Graffiti. And we snuck in, and my best friend sat there and stared in my ear the whole time. He wouldn't watch the screen.
Oh, my gosh.
And I watched it once.
Me too.
Once, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, me too. Mikey and I talked about our favorite movies on this last week or on Monday, on Mondays with Mikey and Murph. And I said the same thing. I only remember watching it once. I don't think I've seen it since then that I can recall. But I was telling him I can remember it almost line for line.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
me too.
Me too.
I was so impacted. Yeah,
absolutely. And you're right. And I'll never watch it again.
First time I ever went to Washington D.C., we went to Georgetown. I actually have a couple things on that. I went to Georgetown, and the steps where he's walking down, where the priest is walking down those steps, and there's a little bar at the bottom of those steps. And I went there in like 1980, I guess it was. I was 22 years old or something like that. And then it was foggy that night, and it was really cool. And then later on in my coaching career, we had an event in Pittsburgh, and the Palumbo Center was where the wrestling event was held, but to get there we had to go by the asylum, and or it was a hospital where that was supposed to be the asylum where Hannibal Lecter was held, and that was still intact. And so it was kind of cool. Like the guys were like pointing it out, going, "Yeah, that's where they filmed Silence of the Lambs," and it was
that's cool.
You know, so I've done with my least favorite and my most favorite. I've seen some of the stuff that happens on that, so it was kind of cool.
That is very cool. And Mosh, there is that's the one I won't watch. My new favorite is there's a show now. You don't do Netflix, but for those of you that do Netflix, watch The Haunting of Hill House. It's 10 episodes.
Yeah,
phenomenal. The wife and I finished it today. Absolute, just a stunning TV show. Great scary stuff, but great.
I'm a big jump out and scare me.
This
I want stuff. Yeah, I saw Stephen King's It last year, and I was a little impressed with it. I didn't like the original one, the ones with John Ritter, and that I thought the spider was really fake
that
at the
movie
end.
was good.
But this new one with the red balloon and all that, and Pennywise,
absolutely,
man, I like you when the stuff. If I'm gonna go and get scared, I want it to jump out and scare me, and then I want to leave and go eat pie. I don't want to have to go to church. I don't want to be affected by it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was definitely a good movie. I enjoyed that one. All right, so here we go. So let's get off to number 101 here on Raiders Fan Radio. And so give you a quick little rundown of the show. I got a few shout-outs that we want to do. Then we're going to talk about the significance of the number 101.
Murph?
Yes? What?
I
just got started.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But you said 101. We are into our second century of shows.
Yes, we are. That's awesome.
We're
awesome.
We are 2 centuries into shows.
2 centuries into shows. I like that.
That's crazy.
That's good. And you know what? And we couldn't do it without the folks in the chat room, right? So
absolutely,
the chat is already lit up, and appreciate you guys again for being in there. And I just want to appreciate everybody that subscribes to Raiders Fan Radio on YouTube, subscribes to us on iTunes, downloads the Android app that we have. If you have an Android device, we couldn't do 100 shows if it wasn't for those of you that support what we do. We're just a couple of Raider fans. We think we do a pretty good job of kind of scrubbing the news as far as what all is out there, and then giving you all some, fair, kind of a fact-based opinion based on what we see, that swirls around the team. There's so much clickbaity kind of stuff out there nowadays, Mosh. There's so much stuff that even mainstream media just does for attention.
Murph, we paint our faces and do podcasts in our boxer shorts on a Thursday night.
Yes.
Because we just like to have fun.
Yes.
We like to have fun. And what better to have fun with than our favorite sports team?
Absolutely. So thank you to those of you that have supported us and what we do, and we're gonna keep them coming. So hopefully another 101 to come. So anyway, so we're gonna a few more things. We're gonna do best Raiders Halloween nicknames. And we got a couple fun stories around Halloween. Of course, the Sea of Fans mailbag, which will take up the majority of the show tonight. We're going to love listening to your voicemails and respond to those. Uncle Mosh has got an email to read this week. And then a few things, some stories that came out around, of course, John Gruden. And then, hang on. And then...
I'll just stay here like this.
Okay. Go ahead.
No.
The rest of it will be what it's going to be. Go ahead.
No. I'll wait.
No. Go ahead.
I have a surprise.
What?
I'm not going to tell you, or it wouldn't be a surprise.
Oh, my God. Why didn't you wait?
I didn't want to be called on immediately, but I had my hand up.
All right. Let's go ahead and get to some shout-outs here before we start off. A few people this week. Uncle Mosh has been out for a couple of weeks, so a few people we wanted to recognize here before we get started on the show. First one, I want to recognize the folks at Niners Radio. They reached out to me, Mosh, this last week, and I joined Brian on his show last night, Niners Radio. Very gracious to reach out to us and ask me to be part of that. So thank you to those folks for having me there. Their show's on Blog Talk Radio if you want to check it out. Basically, we just kind of ran down the Raiders-Niners rivalry and what the significance of this new, or not new, but this last Battle of the Bay and the significance of that. Also, we want to shout out our tagline winners, Uncle Mosh. We gave away the Carhartt hats, and you weren't around for the announcement of the winner, which is what we did last week. So you want to
sure, man.
Talk about that?
So Tom was amazing. He couldn't tell I educate the masses, mold the minds of America's youth.
Way to go, English major.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was a minor. Tom had Wield the Shield. And that was strong.
Very strong.
That was so
Very
strong. And, of course, Emiliano kicked it with what happens in Vegas started in Oakland. Love it, man. Love it.
Absolutely. And that was our winner there, was Emiliano. And so, it's funny, Uncle Mosh, Emiliano hit me up after that, and he's like, thank you so much for for awarding me the winner. Or actually, the fans voted on it.
Sure.
We didn't pick it. Excuse me. But he said, I already bought one of those Carhartt hats. He said, I saw you guys wearing them, and I liked them. So he said, send my hat to Tom. So, Tom, I'm gonna send you the hat, and then we got some other stuff. I got some flags and things.
That's Raider Nation right there, man.
I know,
that's
right?
the heart of the nation right there,
Absolutely.
man. Absolutely. Take care of each other.
Absolutely. So that was pretty cool. So speaking of sending us stuff or us sending you stuff, somebody else sent us some stuff since you've been gone, and Uncle Mosh is wearing his shirt there, and it is the Oakland Raiders, and on the back it says
I can't stand up.
You can't. No, you can't stand up. That's okay. We're gonna wear these again, and I'll have mine on next week. This week's Halloween, so of course we're dressed up. But these are the shirts that are from the Defenders of the Silver and Black. This is the Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio chapters, and these come compliments of our buddy Q Dog, Aaron the Q Dog Raider. So we thank him very much for sending us those. And again, we'll have those on for next week. But definitely wanted to shout him out. And shout those folks down there holding it down for Raider Nation down in Texas, Uncle Mosh.
Man, that's crazy. And we talked about people sending us stuff. We'd love to have some of your photos too. Send us your photos, man. And we've had some great ones sent in, man.
Yes.
We've had some great photos sent in. Keep them coming. We'll keep them scrolling through our different interwebs stuff. And then, of course, on the podcast as well, on the screensaver that we do. So that would be awesome, man. The more stuff that you guys send in, represent the nation. Send it on.
Absolutely, we'll definitely get those posted up. So we have just kind of a slideshow that's gonna scroll at the beginning of the show now during the intro. And so send us in your pictures, and we'll get those put up on there because it's all about you. It's all about Raider Nation, man. That's what Raiders fan radio is all about. We're just two fans that want to celebrate all the rest of the fans out there. All right, so Uncle Mosh, let's see. So I mentioned the 3 best ways to support the show: iTunes, the Android app, and the YouTube subscriptions. And there's also a bunch of other ways that you can find us on Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show@RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Merv's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good. Hey, Murph, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 3 things I want to hit on.
Okay.
Excuse me. If I'm not really up to speed on stuff, like interwebs stuff.
Okay.
iTunes. So if I got an iPhone,
yeah,
it's the little purple dot with the P in it, right?
Yes, it's the podcast app. They call it Apple Podcasts now. Actually.
It comes on the phone.
Yes.
And I click on that, and then I search. What do I search?
Murph's Fan Cave.
Murph's Fan Cave, and that'll take me to any of the choices I want.
That'll take you to all the shows in the Murph's Fan Cave feed. You get this show, Raiders Fan Radio. You get Mondays with Mikey and Murph, and then you get the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead, Tom, and Fitz.
And to get to that on an Android, I go to the App Store. I download what?
Our app. You can find the Raiders Fan Radio app, and then you can
Raiders Fan Radio app.
Yeah, it was before the whole Murph's Fan Cave thing, so it's titled just Raiders Fan Radio.
And that'll get me the other stuff, too.
But it will still include all the shows. That's
all right.
correct.
If I don't have any of that and I'm doing it on my laptop, my pad, or my work computer, I go to the YouTube.
Go to the YouTubes. And go to the YouTubes.
And that's the best way.
That's the best way, and that's actually been, a really nice. So we started doing this YouTube show kind of as a secondary to the podcast. We've been an audio-only podcast forever, and then kind of it was Sonny's idea, frankly, to start live streaming some of it, and then we started, doing shows with Mikey, which is YouTube only,
right?
And so that kind of rubbed off on us, and so now here we are doing this YouTube stuff, and it's a blast, man.
Yeah, because I
just got to say, it's a lot of fun, man. Reading through the chat and just talking to everybody. Emiliano just popped in there, Big Raider Trucker. You know what I mean? It's really cool to interact with the chat room and interact with a lot of what's going on YouTube. So so if you're on your computer there or whatever else, then
you go to the YouTube, and in the search bar you put in Murph, MURFS. Fan Cave.
Fan Cave. That's
perfect.
That's it.
And
it's youtube.com/Murph Fan Cave. It's right there.
Nice.
That's correct.
Nice.
Thank you, Mosh, for that. I don't do a good enough job of self-promotion.
Well, it's not the self-promotion. It's the how the hell do you get to these things? Because there's a few people that might be as old as I am that are listening because they had a grandkid set it up for them like your kids did for me.
There you go. All right, so definitely check us out, and thank you to those of you that support us, as always. All right, Uncle Mosh, so this is episode number 101 of Raiders Fan Radio, and we always name our show after a player or some other significant relationship back to the episode number. Yep. So this week on episode number 101, we players don't have 3 digits in their number, so we got to find something else to relate back to 101. So for 101, Uncle Mosh, we have a yardage total. And when we think back to the year 2011 and Jacoby Ford, who at the time set a franchise record, still a franchise record, for 4 special teams touchdowns in 1 year, and he did it with a 101-yard kick return. And let's go ahead and check in with Greg Papa and hear that call.
Jacoby Ford from the goal line, a yard deep, gets through 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Dawson down the sideline. Ford was not pushed out. He's still in bounds. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Raiders! He did it again. 101 yards. And this one by far the most difficult, as the Cleveland Browns did not push him out of bounds. It looked like he was going to go up against the sideline, and the kicker, Dawson, would push him out. Somehow he tight-roped the Raiders sideline, got a block from Tywan Jones, and that is his 4th career kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, he rode the sideline. He tight-roped the sideline for about 30 yards here, and he might, I don't know how he stayed in bounds.
We're going to look at this all the way down, because he literally tight-roped it all the way down. Kick the extra point. Hurry up.
Oh, man.
I love it.
Greg Papa's kind of gone sour grapes on us a little bit, Mosh, but man,
yeah, but the heyday was the heyday.
Heyday was the heyday, man. It was great. So good to hear from Greg Papa there. Good to hear from Jacoby Ford.
I thought, when you were going to go 1-on-1, I thought you were going to give, something like, how many points we've given up in the 4th quarter this year or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Mikey would do that.
He might. It's been brutal in the 4th quarter this year. All the way up into this last game. And I don't think we're going to have to worry about that against the Niners.
No way.
I think we're going to blow these Niners out. Dare I say, look, it's Halloween, so I'm not afraid to jinx the team tonight. I think we're going to win by 2 scores. I think this is going to be 28-14 kind of a thing. I think we're going to win big. They got their, 9th string quarterback from the practice squad. You know what I mean? This kid out of Southern Miss who, they aren't making Southern Miss quarterbacks like Brett Favre anymore. So I don't think we got much to worry about with this guy. So hopefully, if this is the time for our pass rush to get loose, it's going to be this week, right?
It's going to have to happen.
It's going to have to happen. So anyway, all right. So we're going to get plenty about the game later. Plenty, of course, from the Sea of Fans mailbag. But it is Halloween.
It's our Halloween fantastic functional. What is it?
Post-Halloween pregame frightening fan fest, Uncle
Woo!
Mosh. Wow. All right. So, being that is the case, we had a fun little project. We like to play here on Raiders Fan Radio. And so before we get to the hardcore analysis here on Raiders Fan Radio, we want to do a little playful Halloween stuff. And so we made a song, Uncle Mosh.
This is my surprise.
This is your surprise. You ready to hear it?
Oh, baby, yeah.
Okay, I hope you guys
fired
enjoy
up.
It. It's not the Monster Mash.
No, sir.
It's the Uncle Mosh.
It's the Uncle Mosh. Raiders!
I was working in the fan cave late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my uncle from his mic began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
he did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
He did the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh from my fan cave in the way upstairs. To the tens of listeners that love his silver hairs. To the fans all came from their weekly chores to hear him rant and laugh and roar.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
He did the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh. The YouTube was having fun, for the podcast had just begun. The guests included Q-Dog, Emiliano, Max, and Ron. The show was rocking, all were digging the chat. Lil Murph was on the air, sporting a new Raider hat. The other made men who never lag, all tuned in to hear the Sea of Fans mailbag. They did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
They heard the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
They heard the mosh.
They heard the Uncle Mosh. Out from the YouTube, Mikey's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened his mouth and he started to curse and said,
"Hey, whatever happened to Mondays with Mike and Murph?"
It's now the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
And it's a podcast smash.
It's now the mosh.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mosh.
It's now the Uncle Mosh. Now everything's cool. Mikey's part of the cave. And my Uncle Mosh gets to rant and rave. For the Fan Club Blitz and RFR 2, when you listen to us, tell a Murph sent you.
Then you can mosh.
And you can Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
And do a podcast smash.
Then you can mosh.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mosh.
Then you can Uncle Mosh.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you for everything you've done for Raiders Fan Radio, Uncle Mosh.
You got it, Bish. Yeah, the Uncle Mosh. It's amazing I can hit those high notes. The Uncle Mosh.
yeah.
Hit the Uncle Mosh.
Oh, man.
We have way too much fun.
We have way too much fun. Aaron, the Q-Dog, is in the chat, and he asked if that bubbling sound was your bong.
45 years ago it was for sure, baby.
Oh, man.
Too much fun.
That was too much fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the Uncle Mosh song. All right, Uncle Mosh. So speaking of Halloween, this is a Raiders show, so I guess we should start talking about the Raiders, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, I guess we kind of did already.
Enough of the self-gratification.
I know, right? Yeah,
I got my own theme song that I had to write.
You did a good job on that, by the way.
Oh, no,
awesome.
but you guys nailed it on the singing.
That was fun.
Awesome.
Somebody asked in the chat who the background singers were. That was my 12-year-old and my wife. So give it up to Anna Michelle and Vinny Vanucci over there singing background.
They harmonized beautifully.
They
I
did.
loved it.
It was fun.
I loved it.
It was fun. So, and thank you for Mikey for the appearance there too.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. Mikey's a good sport. All right, so Uncle Mosh. So it is Halloween, and it's the Raiders, and those two things go hand in hand, right? From the way that we make ourselves up at games, the way the super fans represent, that's always been an often noted thing that, it's always Halloween in Raider Nation. Well, I think that's cool. That's one of the reasons why we love the Raiders. We love the skulls and the pirates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
The spiked shoulder pads. And also the names, Mosh. The names are definitely reminiscent to Halloween and to scary things. And
you're not talking about the super fans' names. We're talking about the players'
about the
names.
players themselves.
Yeah.
So let's go what we think are our top 5 scariest Raider name, or just most Halloween relevant type names, right? So there's some honorable mentions out there. Let me give you the honorable mentions, and we won't rank these. We'll just rank the finalists, okay? Honorable mentions would be Mad Bomber.
Sure.
Daryl LaMonica.
Sure.
Kind of loosely scary, right?
Whose record just got beat by our own DC,
Our own
baby.
DC. So, though you Derek Carr haters out there, he's now the number 3rd all-time passing, 3rd all-time quarterback in Raider history, with just Gannon and Stabler left on the board. So I think he's going to beat those two for sure. All right, also an honorable mention, Assassin.
Sure.
Got to go Assassin.
Sure.
I love how a lot of these Raider nicknames it's not the Assassin.
No, it's just,
It's just Assassin,
Yeah.
right? Crypt Keeper, that was kind of like Al Davis was never referred to like inside the building as the Crypt Keeper, but us as fans used to call him that because towards the end of his days, he was looking a little rough there. And so a lot of people were calling him the Crypt Keeper. So that, and then the last honorable mention, I just put it in here because it might be my favorite Raider nickname ever. It's not even that scary, but Kick Him in the Head, Ted. Like, that's just an amazing nickname. And so, of course, Ted Hendricks, who's right up here over my shoulder right here, courtesy of Dead Pirate Sports. Jeff at Dead Pirate sent me that autographed picture of Ted Hendricks. But, yeah, Kick Him in the Head, Ted is just awesome. But, all right, but let's get to the finalists, Uncle Mosh. Let's get to the finalists.
Okay.
So, in no particular order, before we rank them, Snake. Again, not the Snake.
Just Snake.
Snake. The title of his book right here behind me. Snake, of course, Kenny Stabler. All right. Chucky. You can't go wrong with Chucky. Duh, right? It has to be in there. Ghost. Again,
Ghost
not the
Ghost,
Ghost.
baby.
It's just Ghost.
That's
it's
right.
Just Ghost.
Just Ghost.
Here is one, the
Okay.
Mad Scientist. Offensive lineman George Bueller. They called him the Mad Scientist because he was kind of a smart guy, which, you know what I mean? Of course, and a lot of those guys, Upshaw and Shell, a lot of those guys on that line were smart, but he called him his nickname was the Mad Scientist. And then this might be the leader in the clubhouse, Dr. Death, man. Skip Thomas, number 26, member of the Soul Patrol.
Sure.
Man, Unfortunately, that nickname got commandeered by a YouTube / periscoping Twitter commentator that a lot of people associate that nickname now with that person. But no, this is Dr. Death. This is Skip Thomas in our book, and always will be. So Uncle Mosh, so let's go. Let's rank them 5 to 1. Let's rank them. Let's start at the bottom out of these. I would say Snake is probably, because Snake is kind of loosely a scary thing. Not necessarily associated with Halloween. So I would say
unless
Snake.
You're scared of snakes.
Well, there you go.
There was a lot of defenses that were scared of our snake.
That's exactly right.
Sure.
So what do you think? I would say Snake probably number 5.
I could go with Snake. As far as scary, I could I could give up 5 for that.
All right, so Snake is number 5. Then I'm gonna say Mad Scientist. Although that's very Halloween-y because of Frankenstein and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, see, I would disagree with you on that one.
Okay, what do you say?
I'm gonna have to go Dr. Death on that one.
What?
Listen. Here's my thing. I'm gonna go Dr. Death because I know what my 1 and 2 are.
Okay.
And it's probably not your 1 and 2, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I can't put Dr. Death at 4.
Okay,
I can't do that. Who else would you put then if you couldn't pick?
If it were me,
yeah,
and it is,
yeah, I won't be a list bully, but we got to rank these things.
Okay, well let's go your list and let's go my list.
All right, I would go. Snake is 5. Chucky would be 4. Mad Scientist 3. Then Ghost 2. Dr. Death 1. Because Dr. Death could be a lot of different things. That could be the Grim Reaper. That could be a superhero villain. That could be, you know what I mean? That could be a mad scientist. That could be Dr. Death could be a lot of different things. That could be a serial killer. Your Hannibal Lecter could be a Dr. Death. So I think it covers so much. I say Dr. Death is number 1.
Okay. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Snake number 5.
Okay.
We agree on that. Then I'm going to go Dr. Death number 4. I think just because so many people have taken or tried to take that moniker that it's not going to, it doesn't do it for me.
No, that's a good
point.
point.
And then I got to go with Chucky. The connotations of Chucky for number 3, the doll, the famous action figure, actually the famous movie character Chucky, and then Mad Scientist, man. Hey, Mary, I think her first name was Mary Shelley, that wrote Frankenstein, did it, 150 years ago,
Something
200
crazy.
years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
The Mad Scientist, and then the number 1 scary thing, and the quickest way to get candy is throw a sheet over yourself on Halloween. Ghost has got to be number 1, baby.
All right, well, we'll agree then to disagree. I won't be a list bully. I think if since Ghost is my 2 and that's your 1, that's probably the winner, I would say. The most relevant Raider nickname for player has got to be Ghost, got to be Dave Casper. So absolutely, that's pretty cool. All right, Uncle Bosch, one more little Halloween story before we get into Sea of Fans mailbag. This week, a gentleman named Barry reached out to me on Twitter, and he said, hey, check out this video. This is my son. And so his son's name is Barron, and Barron was dressed up not like Chucky, but like John Gruden.
Oh, nice.
And the NFL Network folks pulled him aside, pulled him out of the crowd. So this guy, he's probably 12, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And he's got the kind of longer, I would say, blonde hair. And he was wearing a visor and had his clipboard and everything in his headset.
Oh, that's
and he
so
looked
cool.
just like John Gruden. And so here's MJ Acosta from the NFL Network talking to Barron.
Just before game time at the Coliseum, got to catch up with Coach John Gruden. Ready on the sidelines. What you looking at those plays there?
Looking at every single play. We're going to be winning this game.
Oh, you heard it right here. Coach is ready to go.
All right, there's young
That's
Barron
so
with
cool.
MJ Acosta. Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat, Uncle Mosh. So definitely want to shout him out. Great job on the costume, Barron, and thank you to Barry for letting us know about that. Okay, Uncle Mosh, I think that's we got to get going here, man. We're going to get right up against kickoff. So let's go ahead and dip in to the Sea of Fans mailbag. You ready?
Let's do it, man.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he's thrown. It is. Oh, he caught it.
All Uncle Mosh, some of our emails and voicemails came in your absence before before episode number 100. And episode number 100 last week with just me and Sonny, we didn't have time to get to all of them, so we have a few that were left over from the prior week. So let's go ahead and start off before we get to the voicemails. You got an email there?
Sure. Charlie sends an email, and he's pretty funny. His first his first sentence out of the bag is, "Hey, when you read this, if you want to cuss, it's okay." You know what, Charlie? I may want to, but I don't think I will. But anyway, Charlie is dead on. He comes up with a ton of stuff, and he's just all over the place. And he's like,
he's got questions.
He's got questions, man. He's got some tough questions. He says, at what point do we start questioning Gunther's scheming, or are the players overall just that bad? Irvin and Key seem to be playing too wide, and a note from us is we've talked about that at nauseum, Josh.
Yes.
Murph, we've talked about that over and over and over again. What are you doing, Irvin? You're starting on the sidelines. Come on. Tahir hadn't been rotated to see if he's better in a different linebacker position. He's been getting beat on the edge. Why not put him in the middle linebacker slot and move a younger player to the edge? That's not a bad point. Conley and Melvin being benched despite being the better CBs aside from Worley. He goes on to talk about Melvin being there on a 1-year deal, and part of the problem is his speed. So why not put Melvin instead of Leon Hall? Carl Joseph hasn't played, and I get that he's kind of too short as the safety, but he's great at blitzing, so why not bring him in? It seems, he goes on to say, it seems defensively that the coaching staff has options, but they're not pursuing anything. And I don't really think firing Gunther's the solution, because we have a problem with the turnover of coaches, and we both agree with that. But I mean, really, the offense is going out there, playing hard almost every game, but the defense is just like Swiss cheese. He finishes his email saying, are we looking at this as being the way the defense will be for a few years till Gunther gets the players that fit his scheme, or will he finally fit his scheme to the players he has? And that's, again, a point that you and I have talked about and agreed on, and said that the productive, winning folks adjust their schemes to their players,
or vice versa,
or
plug them in over time.
And that's, but it's going to be something. I think the keeping the folks in place and doing that. But anyway, let me finish. He says, I know you're not part of the team, so we have no real answers. But what's the speculation from you and Mosh? And my take on it is we need a happy medium. We've got to find the players that can work into the scheme, and the scheme that can work into the players. And it's going to I have said it and said it and said it. It's going to take time. That's why the contract was 10 years.
There you go. Absolutely. That's a great point, Mosh. Let's hit a few of these here. Number one, okay, so you mentioned the scheme. You mentioned Gunther's scheme. And, the Raiders coaching staff has something that most coaching staffs do not have, and that is they have the luxury of time. Most staffs have to make an impact year 1, year 2, or they're going to be looking for a job. And the way that today's NFL works, it's a, what have you done for me lately? It's a win now league. And so a lot of times, all times now, you don't find scenarios like what we have now. You don't find scenarios where you have a 10-year contract. Look, Mark Davis is going to be your owner. John Gruden is going to be your coach, and Derek Carr is going to be your quarterback for the foreseeable future. Those things are not going to change. So while we put pressure on the team to win now, and of course we want to see the team win now, Gruden is building for a long-term solution. And I was going to feature some audio this week from the Raiders in a series they've started called From the Ground Up, featuring our buddy Mike Rowe, who we're big fans of. And if this doesn't have future written all over it, I don't know what else does. Like, it's everything from the Raiders says we're going to win later. Now, I know that early on it was a big push for win that last one in Oakland and all that kind of stuff. But sadly, That's not the way that it's playing out. And I think that when Gruden and the coaching staff told us all that stuff initially, I think they said all that stuff in good faith. I don't think we were lied to. I don't think we were intentionally misled. But I think they really thought they had something more than what they did. I don't think they anticipated Khalil Mack holding out and not showing up to camp. I don't think they anticipated Amari Cooper disappearing for games at a time. I don't think they anticipated some of the injuries that they had and the performance of certain players like Bruce Irvin disappearing. And I don't think they anticipated that stuff. So like plans do, they change. And I've always said, formulate the plan, stick to the plan, execute the plan. But there is also a certain amount of you do have to be adaptive as well, right? Well, you have to change at times.
You're exactly right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's true. We have an objective, and and then we have obstacles, and the good coaches are the ones that can make the adjustments. Exactly like you said with the holdouts. I love what Gruden said. He said, I've been accused my whole life of hating rookies and liking old players, and now I'm playing 10 rookies. What do you say to that, America?
Yeah. What's funny is that, the same people that were killing Gruden for bringing in all the veterans are the same ones that are killing him for bringing in all the draft picks. I put out a tweet earlier this week. I'm like, you have to pick a lane. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Which one you want to, you know what I mean? You got to get on, be critical of the team or be critical of Gruden, fine, but you got to pick one or the other, man. You can't say, well, you're bringing too many veterans, and then all of a sudden you get mad at him for bringing in draft picks. Look, this is going to be a long-term thing, Raider Nation, whether we like it or not. I think that, there's no such thing as tanking in the NFL, but the Raiders are under the confines that they're only going to win with certain players, and they're going to look at, it isn't the preseason. They're not going to look at these players in terms of, development or things like that, but they are going to, I think there's a certain element to see what you got. Guys like, he mentioned about the cornerbacks, okay? Why do we see some cornerbacks like Conley get less playing time and some guys like Worley get more playing time? Well, it's because Worley, quote, fits the system. Worley is the kind of cornerback that they want and need and will flourish in that Gunther scheme. They're not so sure yet about Gary and Conley, so they're going to take time to look at him and give him time to develop. Guys like Melvin, he's already 7 years into this thing or whatever, maybe not going to get so much time to try to see if he fits in. So it's just going to be, an ongoing process, so we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what, Mosh, this coaching staff is going to stay intact, and that's good for the team. That's great for Derek Carr, right? That's great for players that come in and have to develop over time. Consistency, man. Look, we've tried everything else but that. What, you know what I mean? When was the last time we had consistency at all in the organization?
It's called trial and error for a reason.
Oh my gosh! But let's stick with the current crop of coaches, man, and quit calling for Gruden's head on. Look, Raider Nation, it ain't gonna happen. We got him for the foreseeable future. So, anyways, all right. Before we start running up against kickoff here, let's jump into some of the voicemails. So this one came before the show last week, and we're gonna hear from our made man, Buddy, Wyoming Raider.
Mosh, Wyoming Raider here. I haven't called in much lately because, well, hell, there ain't been a whole lot of good to talk about. Anyway, just a few things. I don't want to talk about the game because, well, hell, that was a shit show there. The worst part about this whole thing, having to admit that Colin Cowherd was right. You know what I mean? Not that there hasn't been some good things, but all that guy gets to frickin' see is the L's, and it justifies it for him, and it just encourages him to do more smack talking. Coop, everybody's talking about trading Coop now. I mean, we're rebuilding right now.
Called that one.
I say screw it.
He nailed it.
Yeah, the guy's a great route runner, sure, but his hands are jellyfish half the damn time. And guy's got the heart of a bull gerbil. Gives up too much. So I say if you can get anybody will give you actually anything for a concussed receiver with questionable hands at best, then take it. Screw it. We'll just, have 37 picks in the first round next year. That's fine. The other thing I wanted to mention was, can we get that Scottish cat doing the tailgating too much? I think that'd be hilarious. Anywho, whether we win out from here on out or we don't win another one, I'll still be here repping the Raiders in Backwater, Wyoming. I'll just try not to throw too many axes through some TVs. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Keep up the good work. Go Raiders.
He's the best. I know that was an older call, but that you see why I wanted to feature it, man.
He makes me cry.
He's so
Wyoming
funny,
Raider,
man.
The bull gerbil. I've never heard the phrase bull gerbil.
There was a such thing. That's amazing, man. No, great call as always, Wyoming Raider. And I love that he's putting in requests for the tailgating too much. So Kev actually is in the chat. So we might have to feature some of our Silver and Black UK folks in the tailgating too much segment there. But yeah, Mari Cooper, right? The
nailed it.
Questionable heart, questionable hands, and we pulled a first round pick for him. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it.
I love 37 first round picks.
Yeah. So, all right, next up we're gonna go to a new caller, and this is our buddy Jesse in Kentucky.
Hey Murph, Uncle Mosh. This is Jesse. I'm calling from Kentucky. I'm watching episode 99. I've been watching you guys forever, listening to you guys forever. I've never called. The thing about Amari Cooper, Murph's take here towards, what is this, 132 on the YouTube video. The thing about it is that Cooper is getting open. Raiders, they definitely have an issue with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, as you know, he hurt his leg at the end of the season, 2016. That went into the toilet, right? And then 2017 come around, we all had high expectations. But he ended up, with some injuries there in that season. Ended up breaking some bones in his back. I think he missed, one game or something? Ended up coming back. But ever since that point, Cooper's numbers have dropped off. And you can go back and you can look at this. I mean, he's just, this is where the disappearing act really started, right, was in the 2017 season. Yes, he dropped some balls, but Cooper was also banged up in 2017. So when you put it in perspective, what I see happening is I see a quarterback who's got, he's got some issues standing in the pocket, and rightfully so. When you've had the weird injuries that Derek Carr has had, I mean, think about that routine tackle on the sack that Donald Penn gave up in 2016. Every quarterback gets that. He broke his leg. Wow. Okay. So you fast forward 2017, right? And then the Denver Bronco game. Routine play. Bam. Breaks 3 bones in his back. That does something to you. You know what I mean? And you can see this with Derek Carr. And as far as his completion percentage, because I saw this, yes, there is a big difference. The completion percentage looks great. The issue is that if you go back and you watch the tape from, let's say, just the San Diego Charger game, I should keep calling them San Diego, the Los Angeles Charger game. If you watch that, you will see Amari Cooper is running wide open on at least 8 plays in that game. Derek Carr threw it to Jalen Richard. He just snapped the ball, threw it to Jalen Richard. So, like I said, this isn't just about Amari Cooper. And if they trade this guy, I promise you he's going to deliver somewhere else. Thank you. Jesse Raider, out.
All right, Uncle Mosh, I wanted to feature that, and actually Jesse called back in another one, so I'm going to pop that one in here. We'll listen to Jesse's second voicemail, and because he's kind of pushing back a little bit on some of our takes, which I like. You know what I mean? We don't need to be just told that we're right all the time, or that people agree with us, and we're not. So I like that he's kind of pushing back a little bit. So here's his next one.
Hello, Murph and Uncle Mosh. This is Jesse calling from Kentucky, and I wanted to talk about the Amari Cooper trade now that it's happened. Called before, said some things about the Derek Carr injuries and how that becomes a factor. But here's the thing with this whole trade scenario. Number one, there's no wide receivers in this year's draft that we're going to get that are even going to be close to Amari Cooper type talent. Go and look for yourself. They're just not there. Okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is we're not going to have any wide receivers on our team, right? Seth Roberts, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really sure about his contract, but I know that he's towards the end of it, but I can't guarantee. Jordy Nelson's going to be 33, right, next year. And, of course, Martavis Bryant, the Raiders traded for him, released him, only signed him back to a 1-year contract. So, with that being said, we're going to be hurting in this position, which is why it was key why we drafted him in 2015 to solidify this problem, right? But here's the thing, okay? Now that we got 3 first-round picks, and here's your hot take, okay? We got 3 first-round picks in the 2019 NFL draft, all right? All these players eventually will come into their 4th and 5th year player options, right? Okay. The Raiders so far have shown that they're not willing to pay these 5th round things. Now, Mac, I understand that that's not really a fair assessment on Mac's issue because he was going to be paid like $14 million, but the Raiders ended up trading him because he requested a trade. Okay, and they wasn't going to give him fair market value for. They couldn't match what the Bears were going to give them. I mean, we understand the finances of that. That would just kill your team. But here's the thing. Now the Raiders are going to have that problem triple fold, okay? They're going to be dealing with 3 players in one draft from 2019. So in other words, by whatever that is going to be, 2023, 2024, they're going to be right back in the same scenario. And that's why this hurts. Because if you have the foresight of looking at a plan coming to fruition, then you also have to look at that plan and say, that's not a very good plan, man. We're going to lose we're losing the current talent that we drafted. So in other words, throw the last 5 years on the toilet and then let's start again. And in 5 more years, we're going to be doing the same exact thing. So that's my hot take because again, you're talking, these are all going to be those rookie deals. So they're guaranteed contracts, right? And, they're all going to be like a 14, 15 million. And that's only if we hit on them. And there's the variable there. There is nothing guaranteed in the draft. And you guys are smart enough to know that. A lot of these players drafted in the first, second round, third round, whatever, these high praise guys, they don't work out too well. And you've seen that time and time again. So, number one, they have to hope they hit. And 2, then they're going to be, right back in this scenario again 3-4 years from now. So, I'm just, that's my hot take. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, so thank you, Jesse. There was a lot there, but I want to boil it down to a couple of things because I think ultimately what he's saying is this, Uncle Mosh, is that the Raiders traded away a for sure thing in Amari Cooper, where they're not so sure what they're going to get in the draft. Well, number one, I would say Amari Cooper was far from a sure thing, and he was getting ready to leverage the team for a whole bunch of money. Which and Jesse left that out of his commentary there. I don't know intentionally or not, but it's one thing to want to retain a player. It's another thing to want to retain a player at $17 million a year. Yep. Like he's not worth that. He's not worth committing that many dollars to a player that typically will go away sometimes for 4 or 5 games in a season. Now, I think some of the criticism of Derek Carr, well, sure, Derek's the one throwing the football. So if you say Amari was open on certain plays and he didn't get the ball, then I think that's fair. I'll take your word for it. But again, I come back to, is that worth committing that much money to that type of player? And here's the thing, man. Wide receivers don't have offenses built around them. I've said this a lot about the Khalil Mack scenario, and it translates to the other side of the ball as well. There's only one position that you build your team around, and that's your franchise quarterback. You don't build your team around a defensive superstar. You build your team around a core of defensive players. You don't build your offense around a wide receiver. If that were the case, the Giants would be in first place. Because Odell Beckham is a stud. Sure. That's not what their team's built around. Even the Steelers, Antonio Brown is probably the best wide receiver in the game today as of right now. Their offense is not built around him. It's built around Ben Roethlisberger. It's built around James Conner. It's built around, right? It's not built around one singular player. So the fact that you're saying that, well, the Raiders are giving up so much by losing Cooper, I don't think so, man. I'd rather have that pick and then one last thing, Mosh, I'd rather have that pick and then maybe turn that even into more picks, because here's the thing is that you say the Raiders, Jesse, you're going to end up in the same boat again 3 years from now, but they're not, because this is not the way that the Raiders are building anymore. They're going to build like the Patriots, and that team turns over talent before they get, or just as they're getting to their peak value. Ask Jamie Collins, ask Chandler Jones, ask Richard Seymour. These players go on to other teams and get paid these exorbitant contracts. The Patriots don't do it. So I've said it a million times, think of terms of the way that the Patriots build teams and use value and exchange value. That's what the Raiders are going to do going forward.
And the other thing he left off, Murph, there's going to be money available in 23-24. Those folks are going to there's folks that aren't going to be on the payroll any longer. Yes. That money is going to come available.
Bruce Irvin's gone. Osemele's gone.
It's attrition. Yes. Marshawn won't be there in 24. And the other thing, it's exactly what you said. Wasn't that going back in time? Wasn't that what our biggest argument about the Snake not getting in the Hall of Fame was? He had all these receivers who were in the Hall of Fame, but who threw him the ball?
Yeah, or the offensive. Yeah, people would say, well, he was only good because of his offensive line, because Shell and Upshaw and all these guys were in the Hall of Fame. I know, but it's like, yeah, I'm with you.
But that's what that team was, and that was what finally got him into the, as sad as it was that it was posthumously, it got him into the Hall of Fame, because people said, oh yeah, duh. Who was the guy that threw the ball to Biletnikoff?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Could not agree with you more, Uncle Mosh. And Jesse, great call.
Absolutely.
Look, hey,
keep them coming, Jesse.
Keep them coming. Thank you for listening in. And look, and we're not going to, again, as I told you at the top of the show, we're not going to try to pretend like we're always right. We're just a couple of fans with opinions, but we are going to always, again, it's always going to be a fact-based opinion. And if you don't agree with us, let us know, man. We're not shy to hear about it. And it happens in our chat room a lot. We'll get a lot of disagreements, and I only got one rule: be nice to each other. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Don't take it down a personal road. Don't try to belittle one another over something stupid. But if you disagree with anybody in the chat or with us, bring it, man. We're not shy.
Yep.
I said it on Murph's Fan Cave on Mondays with Mikey Murph this week. I was mad at and I see him talking about him in the chat now. About Bruce Irvin. There was this anonymous source that was calling out Derek Carr, calling him soft and all this stuff. And my point was, if you're going to do that, put your name on it. Herm Edwards famously said that. Put your name on it. If you're going to call somebody out, if you're going to say something, put your name on it. We put our name on everything. MurphsFanCave.com.
That's right.
Uncle Mosh and Murph, we are not hard to find. We do not shy behind it. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. And I'm willing to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to skate it. We're not going to dance around it. We're not going to pretend like we didn't say it. We're going to own every single thing we ever say. And I would encourage, anybody listening and anybody in the NFL. Look, when that stuff goes on, put your name on it.
Yep.
To put your name on it.
Let's move on.
Let's go. Let's hear from another new caller. This guy's, if this isn't a little bit of Halloween for you here, Uncle Mosh, this guy's name is Demon Death.
Demon Death.
Hey, Murph, Uncle Mosh, Lil Murph, Wilson, what's up, man? This is Demon Death from L.A., 323. Just calling in, man, to congratulate you guys on your 100th episode. Really love the work you guys do. Keep up the great work, and keep the podcast coming, man. I just want to touch up on a few things. Let's start with Amari Cooper. The fact that we got a first-round pick for him, man, can't be mad at that. Now, I probably would have been upset if we got a third or fourth-round pick for him, but first round, hey, bring it on. Marshawn Lynch, sucks that he's on IR now. Not too happy and not too excited to see Doug Martin. I feel like we won't get past 5 yards. Hell, I don't even think we'll get past 3 yards with him. And that's about it, man. Go Raiders.
All right, and Demon Death had one more call for us, so we'll hit that one too.
Hey, Murph. This is Demon Death from LA again, man. I forgot to mention one more thing about John Gruden. I'm getting kind of tired of all these fans talking all this crap about John Gruden and all the moves he's making. This whole about him winning the Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. People forget, man, it was still him calling the plays. It was his playbook. And if you really think about it, his other team also made the Super Bowl that year, which were the Oakland Raiders. Callahan didn't change anything. That's why he beat us in the Super Bowl. And I'm just tired of it, man. I mean, all these fans, they were all excited. Chucky's back. Chucky's returning. Chucky's back. This and that, blah, blah, blah. 6 games in, everybody's ready to throw him into the Lions den. Just tired of it, man. Just give him time. He ain't come in 98, and took us there. Took him a few years. I think, we made the playoffs in 2000, I believe, 2001. So, I mean, just give him time, man. Give him time. Let him do what he's doing. Let him shape this team up the way he wants to. And believe me, we'll get there. So, for God's sake, man, just believe in Coach. Believe in DC. Good things will come, man. Go Raiders. Raider Nation for life. Out.
Now, that's a good take. I agree with, man. Look, It's not going the way we want it, but you just got to be a little patient, man, and things are going to unfold. So, some kind of sad news here. He mentioned his first call about Marshawn being on IR. Marshawn was really the heart of our team. I think he really, really showed his leadership before, and he was playing great. So I'm sad to see him go on IR, and I was hopeful that, they said he could be cleared before the last home game. So that would be Christmas Eve against the Broncos. I thought, how awesome would that be? It would be a send-off to him, because they're not sure if they're going to play in Oakland again next year. Gruden has come out and said he wants him back, but we're just unsure whether he's going to play again or not next year. So I thought that would have been a nice send-off to Marshawn.
Have they said the extent of the injury?
Well, yeah, it's a groin injury, and he had surgery on it. But here's the thing. You can only bring back 2 players on IR, and one of them is going to be Justin Ellis, and the other one might be Donald Penn. So if that's the case, then Marshawn's not going to be back at all this year. So
Right.
So that's kind of sad. So kind of disappointed to hear about that. But what are your thoughts about him talking about Gruden and kind of being patient with Coach here?
And I agree. We have to be patient. We have to wait it out. We have to see where we're going to go with it, and we've got to let him try. We can't wash our hands to him. My goodness, it's so funny, and I totally agree. We have stability has been something that we as fans have complained about is stability, but yet we're not willing to say, hey, let's just stick with what we got for a minute. It's got potential. We know it has potential. We know that Coach has got potential. He's done it before. He can do it again. Let's just hang in there, man.
Absolutely. Great point, Mosh. All right, let's go to a next call here. Let's hear from our buddy. Hey, it's Halloween, so let's hear from Monster Mash Ken.
Uncle Mosh, Murph, Monster Mash Ken. All right, so we didn't pull it out, but I'm going to try to be positive as always. And first and foremost, I've been taking a lot of heat about being positive on Twitter, and I get in these arguments with people that I don't understand why they're so upset. Like, it's not like we were going to win the Super Bowl anyway, and there ain't no way in hell we were going to compete with Kansas City. I mean, not that we knew how Kansas City was going to come out, but they're coming out firing. And I mean, even with St. Louis and whatnot, we weren't going to do nothing. Anyway, Carr, man, Derek Carr. I just think that he did everything he could do. He put that team on his shoulder. Well, at least the offense. He put the offense on his shoulders, and he came out and played like a champ, man. I really I love Derek Carr. I hope that they don't trade him. I really do. I think that if they do trade him, we're just going to be back to where we started, God knows how long ago. I guess since after Gannon left. Anyway, defense, oh my goodness, just atrocious. Andrew Luck and Marlon Mack just ran all over us and threw all over us, just do whatever they wanted to do, and it was just a nightmare. And I know PJ Hall and Hurst were and Key. Hopefully they're the nucleus of our team. They looked like they were getting close. They were getting so close, but it just didn't work out. And everybody else is kind of anyway. And Harris should have had the INT, and Conley played a decent game, but I don't know. I guess the excitement's going to come the next couple of days with this trade deadline, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to take a hit on this one. I'm a superstitious guy, and I watch my games in my little room there, and my wife kicked me out of the room to watch the babies, which is fine, but as soon as I left, it was the fourth quarter, and we started doing bad. So, yeah, I'm going to put it on her this time. We lost because of her, and now I'm probably sleeping on the couch tonight. Anyway, I love you guys. Sonny, that show show number 100, I didn't call in, but God, that was a really good show, and Sonny has some real good hot takes, and I was fairly new listener, but I'm going to have to go back and listen to some of your stuff. It was a really good show. All right, Murph, Washington, take care. All right, peace out. Bye.
He's great.
Isn't he great? Great call. Great call. Blames it on his wife there.
I love that. When all else fails, blame it on the old lady,
Well, it is Halloween, so I guess it's okay to be superstitious.
Yeah. You gotta be.
Absolutely. All right, we got a few more to get to here. We're gonna start running short on time. We don't want to roll over kickoff at all, so we'll get going here. Great call as usual, Ken. And let's hear from Uncle Mosh. We got 3 made men this week. 3 brand new made men.
Nice.
So we'll save the music to the end. But first off, let's hear from our new buddy, Alberto in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's Red Alberto again. Just wanted to talk about the game that happened. I got to admit, this game looked way better than the previous 2 games the Raiders have played. Except damn linebacker position. The curse of the Raiders. Ever since 2003, From what I've seen in the past, the Raiders have never had good linebackers, and it's still showing today. I remember seeing, going on the internet and looking at, all these great linebackers, Phil Filippiano, Ted Hendricks, all these great linebackers, and it was like that was the core of the Raiders at the time. Now that's the worst position right now. So the Raiders had that game. Derek Carr had 4 touchdowns. 3 passing, 1 rushing. It was great. No sacks allowed. Those linebackers, man. Whew. That's a dumpster fire. But anyway, I was actually at the game. And, man, I'm sad to see the Raiders go to Vegas. Because even when the Raiders are doing bad, Oakland shows up. You know what I'm saying? The fans are loud. Everyone's rowdy, you know, and the tailgating too, you know, all the super fans. You know, it's going to suck when they go to Vegas. It's not going to be the same. But anyway, another thing I want to mention is that Khalil Mack got injured. The generational talent got injured. How could that be? He's a human being. He's not some god. Well, he became a god once he left the Raiders because, you know, the media. You know, I said the media, whatever. But anyway, do the Raiders look stupid now for trading away Khalil Mack just because he got injured now? Do we still look stupid? The media will say yes, but either way, still go Raiders. See if we can beat the Niners. That's the game they got to win. And I think they have the urgency to win. And I think they can win. Just don't let whatever running back that they have on the 49ers run over our linebackers. Either way, go Raiders.
All right, great call there, Alberto. Congratulations on being a made man here in Raiders Fan Radio. So I'm going to hit this real quick. Uncle Mosh, in terms of linebackers, the year we drafted Gary and Conley, Sonny and I were on and we were doing a live draft show.
Right.
And the pick came through, and my reaction was, Conley?
Who?
Conley? Because here's what, the Raiders have needed inside linebacker for a long time. And at one point, our head coach was an inside linebacker, Jack Del Rio,
right.
Run by Reggie McKenzie, an inside linebacker. Right? We had all these inside linebackers, and everybody thought that we could draft one in the low rounds and then develop them into being some kind of a superstar. In that draft, I'm looking at it right now, we had Reuben Foster, who we'll see tonight, playing for the Niners, Reuben Foster, Hassan Reddick, Zach Cunningham from Vanderbilt, Jared Davis, and Raekwon McMillan. All those guys were in that draft, and we didn't draft. Some of those guys were in the second round. And we didn't even address inside linebacker at all. Now, look, I'll never get mad at the team for drafting a corner, especially in today's NFL. And I get that middle linebacker is not played like it once was. Once upon a time, the days of
Butkus
or Mike Singletary or those type guys, even a Patrick Willis, like those kinds of days of that middle linebacker. But you still need a field general. You still need that guy. And I like Tyre Whitehead. I think he's a nice player, but he's more of a complimentary guy. We just need to address that at some point at higher rounds. And I know we tried it with Rolando McClain and it didn't work out for unforeseeable reasons, but don't you feel like we just have got to get that position is just that one in safety? Like we just have not figured that out for the, I don't know, certainly since Woodson retired, and even that we kind of got lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And, I'm not counting my chickens before they're hatched, but with 37 first-round picks, odds are we're going to get a linebacker.
That's true. That's true. Well, I hope you're right. All right, let's go up next to our buddy Jack up in Oregon.
Hey, Murph, Uncle Mosh, it's Raider Jack coming from Oregon, the land of Cousin Sonny, and yet there's not a single freaking ray of sunshine in the sky, just rain. Gotta say, this last loss, again, in the fourth quarter, again, losing to the Colts like that, I gotta give Luck credit, I gotta give their tight ends credit, but man, I'm just so tired of seeing the Raiders lose at this point. But who isn't? Who wouldn't want to see their team win? Who wouldn't want to see their team just explode with offense and just go crazy? Derek Carr had a great game. I'm at the point now, though, where I'm also tired of reading the news headlines about and watching our brothers and sisters in Raider Nation be upset about trading with like Amari Cooper and, Khalil Mack. We're not the only team doing this at all, okay? You look at Detroit, they just got rid of Golden Tate. You look at the frickin' Packers, they just got rid of Montgomery and Clinton Dix, which is a great name, I must say. It's going all over the place, man. And so we're not the only ones experiencing this. We're not the only fan bases going out of their mind because they may have lost, one of the better players they had. So I don't know. People need to quit jumping ship. People need to quit, say, oh, it's over. It's a season. And, man, we're getting our feet under us in one way or another. And like I've said many times before, we're going to come out next year swinging. But that's next year. For now, just batten down the hatches, hold on to the freaking ropes, and we'll get through it. Go Raiders.
Uncle Mosh, it's tough to be patient, but and look, and I wasn't expecting to have to be patient coming into the season, as I think a lot of us were. We were expecting to win and expecting to be competitive week in, week out. And the way that the season started, it looked like that was going to be the case, right? But unfortunately, it hadn't gone that way. So, but I would say this, it's not so much like no one's apologizing. You're not apologizing for Gruden. You're not apologizing for the team. And I'm not either. But what I am willing to be is because they have the luxury of time, I am willing to wait and see it play out. And I think that a lot of Raider Nation, because he mentioned the infighting and a lot, stop it with that, folks. You just look, it is what it is. And I hate that term, but we can't change it by fighting one another. So I would encourage you to be patient and just at least wait it out. Look, if it's 2 years from now or 3 years from now and it's the same result, well, then no one will be screaming louder than us. But until we get to that point, we got to at least give them a shot, right?
Yeah, I am a Raider apologist and proud of it, but I'm not apologizing for him this year. And it's funny because I have a ton of friends that aren't Raider fans. And they're, surprisingly enough, I'm not getting a lot of flack about it because they know the potential that we have. They have the faith in the coach. There's not, there might be a little snickering about, oh, look at your record. But you know what? It's not a lot of gloating because our glory days are coming back, baby.
That's true.
And being Raider drunk is a good thing.
Absolutely. All right, one last call here before we get to the Made Man music, and let's hear from our buddy Steve in Houston.
Hey, Murph, this is Houston Raiders Steve from Houston, Texas. We got a phone call from Ruben Dominguez with Fox 26 here in Houston. They're carrying the game tonight between the Raiders and the 49ers. So he invited the Raider fans and Raider Nation, I should say, and the 49er faithful. So it was pretty awesome, man. We were down there about 6:45 in the morning, and they put us on at 7:45, 8:45, and 9:45, and we were up there cheering like hell for the Raiders, and they were cheering for the 49ers. It was good. It's all about family. We all had our pictures taken with the people that worked in there at the TV station, and was able to see the set and everything. Raider fans, 49er fans, and everybody got along. We were kidding back and forth. We had a great time. And I said, you know what? It doesn't matter what team you cheer for, because you're a football fan, you're family. We just all have a passion for our teams. That's why they call us fanatics or fans. So, man, it was awesome. My friend Oscar Sanchez, the H-Town Raider Booster Club president, invited me.
And there he got cut off. So that wasn't 3 minutes, but I know sometimes Google Voice will be funky and cut people off. But anyways, very cool. They got to celebrate there with the local TV station.
Yeah, that's awesome.
TV. That's very cool. So Uncle Mosh, so made men this week, newly crowned. Joining the rest of the team, we've got Alberto in Los Angeles, Jack in Oregon, and now Steve in Houston. Congratulations, gentlemen, on becoming made men.
You are a made man. You showed you are part of the family by participation. By chance, a man like yourself should make enemies, then they would become my enemies. Showing you are a friend of Raiders Fan Radio, you have leapt across the line. Friendship is everything. Friendship is more than talent. It is more than the government. It's almost equal to family. Be loyal. Made man, Raider fan. Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day, accept this as a gift. And don't ever forget, words can hurt more, but silence can break hearts.
All right, Uncle Mosh, one last little quick segment here so we can get out before kickoff. We have a few other segments we're going to get. We're just going to have to save them until next week. So we'll cover, there's some ESPN stuff that I wanted to cover, and then also Mike Holmgren visiting the Raiders this week and kind of his breakdown of John Gruden. But I found a little something on the history between the Raiders and Niners and Uncle Mosh. So this is the last Battle of the Bay that's getting ready to go on tonight. The record is 7-6, right? And
can't get much more even than that.
Can't get much more even than that. And so we got a shot to end this thing 8-6. So hopefully we do, because no one wants to see this thing end 7-7 in a soccer tie. We don't want to see that, right? So hopefully the Raiders can pull this thing out for sure. But so 44 years ago, Uncle Mosh, one of these matchups took place. So you got the list there in front of you. So did you see the one there from 1974? Do you see that?
I did. In 1974, it was Sunday, November 29th. The Raiders at Candlestick Park.
Candlestick Park. Do you remember?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
You do?
Oh, my gosh, yes. Candlestick Park, are you kidding?
Well, yeah, of course, the stick.
Yeah. But this game in particular, I was in the 9th grade, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we have the call from that game. So we have the little bit of NFL films here for you to close out the show, and we're gonna hear from the live call. Of course, the legendary Bill King. Been a long time since we listened to some NFL films audio. So let's listen to this, and here we go.
The Silver and Black had triumphed in San Francisco during preseason play. The return visit would end the same way, as number 44, Marv Hubbard, powered for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Hubbard's act was followed by still more fireworks.
Now back to pass. Stabler, after a fake, has got time. He's throwing deep for Branch behind Taylor. He's got it at the 25, the 20, the 15. He's at the 10, veers away. Touchdown, Raiders! Well, it's exhibition season revisited. Bruce Taylor didn't get burned. He got absolutely enveloped in a conflagration. Cliff Branch just cinched his tail by 7 yards. And Stabler hitting him on the button was on the throwing end of a 64-yard touchdown pass to Branch.
Raider domination continued in this series, which is totally commanded by Oakland's 7-3 win margin. Under unyielding pressure, the Niners lost the ball, and George Atkinson's recovery set up a Stabler to Dave Casper score. Then Ray Guy, pro football's leading punter, boomed a cloud scraper, and the 49ers return man wilted in the face of angry coverage. Number 34, Harold Hart, zoomed 40 yards to end the San Francisco earthquake of 1974, 35-24.
Jeez, I got chills, dude.
I was just going to say the same thing, but that gives me chills.
Hubbard, Casper, Atkinson, Guy, come on.
That's awesome. That's so good. So good. With Bill King on the call and narrated by John Facenda. Like that. If you're a Raider fan, like that, it doesn't get any better than that, man. I know that's cool stuff, man.
That's the best.
That's a lot of fun. All right, so hey, so Uncle Mosh, you got any predictions for tonight? I called the big blowout. I'm saying that the Raiders are ready. I think that, Martin, by all accounts, last week had a good game until he fumbled. I think that we have a good game running the ball. I think we see another good game out of Derek Carr. Defense, I don't know how much we're going to have to worry about our defense when you got a 95th string quarterback.
You got a 95th string quarterback who, after the celebration tonight, is going to look forward to his 21st birthday so he can drink. No, all kidding aside, man, I really think this is it. I think this is it. I think this is the big one. And now, I know the Niners are going to be up for this game if these guys are old enough to know how to get up for a game. But I really do think that this is it, man. This is going to turn the tide. As good as Carr looked last week, man, he looked good. He was throwing those things on a rope, dude.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. and the offensive line stepping up, him not getting touched. Come on, when was the last time we said that?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, now granted, Indianapolis doesn't have much of a pass rush.
Didn't matter
because neither do the Niners. I mean, so we should be in good shape. And if anybody out there, and I talked about this on that Niners radio show, we're talking about the rivalry and about how it's not, it's a regional rivalry. These teams don't play in the same division. They only play in the same conference.
Sure.
But especially in the midst of a losing season like this, there's a lot of mustard on this one now, because
Absolutely.
This is like one of our Super Bowls. Like, my brother, right? Somehow the family gene mutated and he ended up a Niner fan, and I want those bragging rights. This means way more to me than it does for the team and their record at this point.
Absolutely.
So and I know that that's one story out of millions, literally, probably for Raider Nation. And so, we want this. This is a big game for us. All right. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much to all of you. I can't scroll, but just the ones here recently: Ron, Peter, Emiliano, Aaron, Raider 64, Adam Hill, Robert, Raider Critique, Sam Acosta, a whole bunch of you, Peter Nunez, a whole bunch of you have been in the chat tonight. Thank you so very much for participating in the chat, supporting what we do here at Raiders Fan Radio.
Sure.
Man, go Raiders. Let's go kick the crap out of the Niners, man. Let's
Absolutely.
go. Let's go, Raiders. Mosh, you got anything for us before we get out of here?
Congrats to all the new made men, Alberto, Jack, and Steve. We'll get your Rogues Gallery music next week.
Yeah.
And we just, subscribe to us. Hit us on the iTunes. Get us on the apps if you're an Android user. Hit us on the YouTube. Man, I'm excited. This is I've been gone. For 2 weeks. I'm back.
You're back.
I'm fired
Welcome
up.
back, Uncle Mosh.
Thank you very much.
By the way, thank you very much. We definitely missed you. We know you had some other stuff to attend to.
Life happens, man.
Life happens, and so it's nice to have you back here.
I got a real job for a while till this thing takes off.
Keep subscribing, and you never know.
There you go.
All right, Raider Nation. Appreciate you guys very much. Enjoy the game. Let's go Raiders.
What happens in Vegas started in Oakland.
I was working in the fan cave late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my uncle from his mic began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
He did the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh from my fan cave in the way upstairs. To the tens of listeners that love his silver hairs. To the fans all came from their weekly chores to hear him rant and laugh and roar.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
He did the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mosh.
He did the Uncle Mosh. The YouTube was having fun, for the podcast had just begun. The guests included Q-Dog, Emiliano, Max, and Ron. The show was rocking, all were digging the chat. Lil Murph was on the air, sporting a new Raider hat. The other made men who never lag, all tuned in to hear the Sea of Fans mailbag. They did the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
It was a podcast smash.
They heard the mosh.
It caught on in a flash.
They heard the mosh.
They heard the Uncle Mosh. Out from the YouTube, Mikey's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened his mouth and he started to curse and said,
Hey, whatever happened to Mondays with Mike and Murph?
It's now the Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
And it's a podcast smash.
It's now the mosh.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mosh.
It's now the Uncle Mosh. Now everything's cool. Mikey's part of the cave. And my Uncle Mosh gets to rant and rave. For the Fan Club Blitz and RFR 2, when you listen to us, tell a Murph sent you.
Then you can mosh.
And you can Uncle Mosh.
The Uncle Mosh.
And do a podcast smash.
Then you can mosh.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mosh.
Then you can Uncle Mosh.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you for everything you've done for Raiders Fan Radio, Uncle Mosh.
You got it, Bish. Yeah, the Uncle Mosh. It's amazing I can hit those high notes. The Uncle Mosh.
yeah.
The Uncle Mosh.
Oh man.
We have way too much fun.